Every day, we wake up and face a world full of expectations. We're told how to look, how to act, how to live. The opinions of others follow us like shadows, weighing us down, shaping the decisions we make, and clouding the person we truly are. But what if you stopped? What if you let go of the need for approval and embraced the freedom of living for you? Imagine the power of waking up each day without worrying about judgment. Imagine how far you could go if you stopped caring what people think of you. It's time to take back your life, to stand tall, to live boldly. Today I want to talk about a subject that has weighed down countless souls, held back dreams, and suffocated potential. This constant worry about what others think of you. Too often, we shape our lives around the expectations of others, fearing their judgment, seeking their approval, and conforming to their ideas of what we should be. But what if I told you that this concern is a cage, locking you away from your true self, and that the key to unlocking your fullest potential is simply to stop caring what people think of you? Now, let me clarify. I am not suggesting that you stop caring about people, nor am I telling you to be indifferent to the feelings of others. What I am saying is that the weight of other people's opinions should not dictate how you live your life. Your worth, your dreams, your identity, these are yours and yours alone to define. Living in fear of judgment diminishes your capacity for greatness, stifles your creativity, and robs you of the joy that comes from being unapologetically yourself. Think about it. Every great person in history, every trailblazer, every innovator, every icon had one thing in common. They refused to let the opinions of others dictate their lives. They stood tall, often in the face of harsh criticism, rejection, and ridicule. They were told they were too different, too bold, too ambitious. Yet, despite the voices trying to hold them back, they persevered. Why? Because they believed in themselves more than they believed in the doubts of others. Consider people like Albert Einstein, whose teachers once said he would amount to nothing, that he was slow and dull. Imagine if he had let those voices define him. He would never have gone on to revolutionize physics. Or think about someone like J.K. Rowling, rejected by countless publishers, told that her stories would never sell. What if she had accepted that as her reality? We would never have the magical world of Harry Potter. These people had every reason to fold under the weight of societal expectations and judgments, but they chose not to. They chose their vision, their passion, and their truth over the noise of other people's opinions. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what are you holding back because of the fear of judgment? What dreams have you stifled because you were worried about what others might say? What version of yourself are you not living out fully because you're too busy trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be? The truth is, people will always have opinions. And here's the kicker. You cannot control what they think. No matter what you do, some people will judge you. You could spend your entire life bending over backward to make everyone happy, and there will still be someone who finds fault. Why? Because their opinions aren't really about you. They are reflections of their own fears, insecurities, and limitations. And here you are, letting their projections hold you back from living your most authentic life. This fear of judgment starts early. It begins in school, when we're taught to fit in, to follow the rules, to be like everyone else. We are conditioned to crave validation. From our teachers, our peers, even our parents. We learn that our worth is somehow tied to how others perceive us. And as we grow older, this mindset becomes harder to shake off. We start measuring our success not by our own standards, but by the yardsticks of others, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal aspirations. We fear standing out, we fear being different, and we fear failing because we know others are watching, ready to criticize. But here's the secret. The most liberating moment in your life will be when you realize that it's impossible to please everyone. And that's perfectly okay. It's okay to have people disagree with you. It's okay to not fit into someone else's mold. It's okay to be disliked or misunderstood. In fact, the more you step into your authenticity, the more you will find that some people will naturally drift away. But guess what? Those aren't your people. The people who are meant to be in your life, the people who truly matter, will love and accept you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. When you stop caring what people think of you, something magical happens. You start to live for yourself. You start to follow your own path, to listen to that inner voice that has been drowned out by the noise of others' opinions. You start to dream bigger, act bolder, and take risks that you would have otherwise avoided. You become free to make mistakes, free to fail, free to try again, and free to ultimately succeed on your own terms. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that this is easy. It's not. It's uncomfortable to break free from the need for approval, especially if you've spent your whole life chasing it. You might lose friends. You might face criticism. You might even feel lonely at times. But I promise you this: the peace and power that come with living authentically far outweigh the temporary discomfort of letting go of other people's opinions. Imagine waking up every day without the burden of trying to impress anyone. Imagine the energy you would free up to pour into your passions, your dreams, and your growth. Imagine how unstoppable you would feel knowing that the only person you need to please is yourself. That is the power of living authentically. That is the freedom of not caring what people think of you. Let's take a deeper dive into what it really means to stop caring what people think of you. It means stepping into a space where you take ownership of your decisions, thoughts, and actions. This is not about arrogance, nor is it about ignoring constructive feedback. It's about choosing whose opinions matter and whose don't. Too many of us are held hostage by the judgments of people who don't truly know us, who aren't invested in our growth, and who are quick to critique but slow to support. When you constantly seek validation from others, you give them power over you. You let them dictate your sense of worth, and you become reactive to their moods, opinions, and preferences. That's not freedom. That's living in a mental prison. You begin to live a life that isn't yours, crafted by the expectations and judgments of others, instead of carving out your unique path. Life is too short to live in someone else's shadow. You were born to create your own light. Understand this. Those who judge you are often struggling with their own insecurities. People tend to project their own fears onto others. When they criticize you, it's not necessarily about you. It's often about them. They may see in you something they fear or something they wish they had the courage to pursue themselves. Instead of internalizing their negativity, recognize it for what it is, a reflection of their own struggles, not your shortcomings. Think about how much energy you waste worrying about how you're perceived. How much time is spent crafting the perfect image, seeking approval, fearing rejection. What could you achieve if you redirected that energy toward your own goals and passions? Every minute spent worrying about what someone thinks of you is a minute you could spend building something meaningful, growing stronger, or making a difference. When you stop caring about others' opinions, you also stop allowing fear to control your decisions. Fear of being judged or criticized keeps you playing small. It keeps you from trying new things, from stepping out of your comfort zone, from pursuing big dreams. Imagine how much braver you would be if the fear of what others thought didn't hold you back. You would take more risks. You would fail, learn, and rise again, stronger and wiser each time. You discover parts of yourself that you never knew existed. It's important to recognize that the people who truly care about you won't judge you for being yourself. They will support you, challenge you to grow, and celebrate your authenticity. These are the people whose opinions should matter. Those who encourage you to be the best version of yourself, not the most palatable version for others. Consider this. Life is like a canvas, and every decision you make is a brushstroke. If you let others hold the brush, the picture that emerges won't be yours. It will be a muddled image, a reflection of other people's desires and fears. But when you take control of the brush, when you live authentically and unapologetically, the canvas becomes a masterpiece uniquely yours. It may not be perfect, but it will be real. And that's what makes it beautiful. We often forget that people are not thinking about us as much as we imagine. Everyone is caught up in their own lives, their own worries, and their own insecurities. The person you're worried about impressing is likely just as worried about what others think of them. So why waste your precious time obsessing over something that's fleeting and out of your control? It's important to remember that the road to self-confidence isn't paved with approval. Confidence comes from within, from knowing your worth, believing in your abilities, and trusting your instincts. Approval is fickle, and it can be taken away as quickly as it's given. But when you cultivate self-confidence, it's unshakable. It's yours, no matter what others think or say. You're not going to resonate with everyone, and that's okay. The world is full of different perspectives, tastes, and values. Trying to fit into everyone's idea of what's right or acceptable is an impossible task. Instead, focus on resonating with yourself. When you're aligned with who you are, you'll naturally attract the right people, opportunities, and experiences into your life. The people who matter will see your authenticity, and the rest? They'll move on, and that's perfectly fine. Letting go of others' opinions also opens you up to incredible freedom in your creativity. When you stop worrying about how others will perceive your work, you're free to take bold, unconventional, and innovative steps. You allow yourself to create from a place of passion rather than fear. Whether you're an artist, a writer, a business person, or an entrepreneur, your best work will come when you are not shackled by the need to impress or conform. Realize that the person who needs your approval the most is yourself. If you spend your life seeking validation from others, you will never truly feel satisfied. But if you learn to validate yourself, if you can look in the mirror and be proud of who you are and what you stand for, that's where true fulfillment begins. Approval from others is temporary, but self-acceptance is enduring. To fully embrace who you are means accepting your flaws, your mistakes, and your imperfections without shame or apology. No one is perfect. We all stumble, we all fall, and we all have moments of doubt. But that's what makes us human. The beauty of life is in its imperfections. So, why should you strive to be anything other than your flawed, unique, and evolving self? When you stop caring what people think, you also stop needing to prove yourself to anyone. You stop feeling the need to explain your decisions, to justify your actions, or to seek permission to be who you are. You realize that your life is your own, and you are the only one who needs to be convinced of your worth and your vision. Freedom comes when you embrace your individuality and reject the notion that you must conform to fit into a mold that society has set for you. Your journey is yours to shape, and every twist and turn, every detour, is part of what makes your story unique. There is no right way to live, no universal standard for success, and no blueprint for happiness. You define these for yourself. Finally, I want to leave you with this thought. If you spend your life trying to please everyone, you will please no one, least of all yourself. The greatest regret people have at the end of their lives is not living true to themselves, not pursuing their passions, and not taking chances because they were too concerned with what others thought. Don't let that be your story. In closing, I want to remind you of one simple truth. You were not put on this earth to live according to other people's expectations. You have your own path, your own journey, and your own unique gifts to share with the world. Don't let the fear of judgment hold you back from being who you are meant to be. The world needs you, not a watered-down, edited version of you, but the real, raw, unfiltered you. You've heard the voices of doubt. You've faced the critics, the naysayers, and the pressures to fit in. But now, you know the truth. Their opinions do not define you. The power to live authentically, boldly, and unapologetically is within your hands. When you stop caring what people think of you, you unlock a world of endless possibilities. You give yourself permission to dream bigger, to fail and rise again, to be yourself in a world that tries to make you someone else. The moment you choose yourself is the moment you set yourself free. So go out there, be fearless, be relentless, be you. So, stop caring what people think. Start living for yourself, and watch as the world opens up in ways you never imagined. Thank you.